The right alarm for the right location. Buy Kidder's worry-free alarms today at the Home Depot.
News Talk Cleveland, WERE, Cleveland Heights, WENZ HD2, and WZAK HD3 Cleveland. And streaming live at blackplanetradio.com. This is a paid program brought to you by the Stark Group. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsors and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of this station or its management.
This is the Stark Group Live, talking real estate. And now, here are the hosts of the Stark Group Live, Brian and Paul Stark.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Stark Group Live, talking real estate. I'm Brian Stark with a hoarse voice.
Oh, and I'm Paul Stark. The voice is perfectly fine.
Folks, you've tuned into the program where every Thursday night at 7 you meet knowledgeable people who teach you the art of success in real estate investing, renting, buying, managing, and selling.
That's right. So whether you're a homeowner, an experienced landlord, a small property owner, a developer, a manager, or you're just thinking about getting into the real estate business, this program has been specially designed, highly engineered for your infotainment pleasure. So call us in the studio with your questions, comments, curiosities, wonderings, even your queries. By dialing 216-578-1490, we'll take your calls live on the air and in the studio.
And when you do, today you're going to win some fabulous prizes. First of all, a Bruegger's Big Bagel Bundle.
Awesome.
I'm so good at saying it.
You've read it across my forehead so many different times. It's good I kept that tattoo.
I don't even need the script. Bruegger's Big Bagel Bundle.
That's perfect.
13 bagels baked the old-fashioned way, just like in old New York, plus 2 8-ounce tubs of Vermont cream cheese.
That's beautiful. That's just wonderful. And delicious as well.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
That's what they tell me.
So they should pick up the phone and dial and call, and they could get that. Now, by the way, folks, the Stark Group Live is sponsored by the Stark Companies, including but surely not limited to ISM Management, where we manage your property so you can enjoy your life.
And New Millennium Construction, complete repairs, maintenance, and total rehab for real estate professionals and for you.
That is just wonderful. True Star Funding for all of your investment real estate lending needs. And Properties Magazine, the magazine of the commercial property industry. Check them out online at www.propertiesmag.com or call for your very own subscription at 216-251-0035. We are also proudly sponsored by
Sharp Concepts Realty and Strategic Real Estate Coach.
Perfect. Folks, stay tuned. Our lines are open at 216-578-1490 for your calls, questions, comments, curiosities, wonderings, etc. right here on the Stark Group Live. And by the way, tell your friends around the world we're streaming live at newstalkcleveland.com. If you don't want to be on the air, you can call our office at 216-531-5310, extension 14 for Brian Stark, or no, actually, it's 1470
yes, it is.
For Brian Stark, or 1469 pour moi. Or send email to Brian at starkworld.com. He'll answer your questions privately.
If you're on the shy side. Folks, would you like a really special prize, something that you can't really put a monetary value on? If you listen and you call in at 578-1490 today, Kathleen Crowther, the president of the Cleveland Restoration Society, may just bestow upon you an annual membership. Kathleen has been the president of Cleveland Restoration Society since 1987. Under her leadership, CRS has become a nationally recognized preservation organization that plays a vital role in resolving challenging preservation issues in the urban, suburban, and outlying regional areas of Northeast Ohio. She's also an advisor to the National Trust for Historic Preservation and a true pillar of our Northeast Ohio community. Kathleen Crowther, so glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Brian. Thank
we
you, Paul.
need to have the applause sounds over there, Leo. The crowds went wild.
So before we delve into a couple of subjects that I really want to learn about, which include the Heritage Home Program and the Heritage Home Loan Program and the consultative services that Cleveland Restoration Society provides, I want to just ask you to, and I've been so pleased and so honored to be a member of the board of CRS, but I come to a meeting, I get a coffee, we listen to a few things, we look at a couple of reports, we say yes, no, good idea, bad idea, and we go back to our office. You and your wonderful staff work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, something like that, right?
Wait, no windows. The heat is very hot. No food. You walk
24-hour energy.
You walk 3 miles in the snow, uphill all the way, right?
Saving churches and fine structures, advocating, working with cities.
She has a cape, actually.
She does.
Saving the churches.
Super big ass.
Yes, I fly through the sky.
Exactly.
Who cares? I mean, why do we? I mean, I personally, to play devil's advocate. I mean, why don't we just throw up a bunch of nice new buildings and keep everything clean and easy? All this old stuff. This crumbling old crap, with old bricks and old designs. Who needs all that stuff?
We need all that stuff. We need all that stuff because that is part of who we are. That is part of our cultural heritage, our legacy. And it's something that people really greatly appreciate. We live in a city that has a lot of historic character to it, buildings that were built during some of the greatest period of American architecture, design, and construction. And we are really the inheritors of this incredible legacy. So people do have different preferences. Maybe, people may prefer an old building or a new building, but many of us prefer the interesting older buildings and those interesting, nuanced, textured areas of the city that grew up over generations.
And it's interesting that you say that. So, of course, my comments were sort of devil's advocate, provocative. I love historic. Paul and I both love historic structures. We love interesting architecture, and every style has its merits. We look at some buildings from the 70s, for example, the Ameritrust Tower that many people considered to be very ugly. And suddenly, when it was under threat of demolition, a few people were happy, and many, many people in our community were very concerned. Why is that? That ugly concrete thing from the 70s. What's so special about a building like that? Help our listeners understand.
Sure. That building was designed by Marcel Breuer, who is considered the father of modernism. He emigrated from Germany to this country, and during the beginnings of his career, it was hard for him to get business, and he was actually a very successful furniture designer. So there's the Breuer chairs that are very famous.
It's sort of an iconic furniture style. Interestingly enough, the Breuer chair, if you go into any well-appointed home, you'll see probably 5 or 6 pieces of iconic furniture in any great home that represent these different furniture designers and architectural designers. And the Breuer chair, for those who don't necessarily know, that's a particular style of chair that you'll see in certain places, and it's been copied by many furniture makers in cheaper designs and that sort of thing.
Yep. So it's interesting that here in Cleveland we have actually 2 buildings that he designed. Mm-hmm. One is the then new addition to the Art Museum, Cleveland Museum of Art, mm-hmm. the striped, horizontal, striped building.
Similar colors to the building downtown, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, gray.
Mm-hmm. Gray. The gray and black.
Charcoal gray, sort of gradations of
gray.
They
called it the Brutist style, correct?
Or brutalist, right?
Yeah, brutalist. And the tower really exemplifies
it's pretty brutal looking.
It
looks like a prison almost.
Brutalistic. And
it is.
It is also interesting that it's attached to a neoclassical style building. So
Certainly.
both the Art Museum is neoclassical, as is the Rotunda, and they're both 1910-ish era.
Great coincidences.
buildings.
And for our listeners who are not here in Northeast Ohio, Kathleen is referring to a building on the corner of what was the center of downtown Cleveland in its heyday, where you almost couldn't stay on the sidewalk. There were so many people in 1960 or 65. And this occupied perhaps the most important corner in the city. It was the most successful bank in the city, a beautiful, classic, Parthenon style, for those of you who need a visual, sort of building with columns and capitals and nice attic over the column, just a classic.
Glass ceiling rotunda with glass by Tiffany, correct?
Glass ceiling, as a matter of fact. So this is one of those banks where you go in and you know darn well there's an awful lot of money there. And it's a darn safe place to keep yours.
It is. It projected an image of stability and, and the vaults, you wouldn't be able to get through those vaults for sure.
Right.
So, it is sort of a miracle story that's going to now be converted into the tower, into a hotel and luxury apartments, concierge living, they call it, with various restaurants, bars, an indoor dog park. And
For your indoor dog.
And then a
Does your dog
high-end
That is not my dog.
food market in the Rotunda.
That's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Quite extraordinary.
We'll give him a
Yeah.
plug, Heinen's.
Heinen's. It is Heinen's
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
And the
We like Heinen's.
ordinary dry goods that you find in a grocery store will be in, I think, more normal grocery market aisles into this Sweatland building that is along Euclid.
Yeah. We have to
But
go in the vault to get the caviar or
The
something?
vault's going to be a speakeasy.
Oh, nice.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So it is. I understand the rotunda itself, the floor of the rotunda, and the second level will be, this beautiful prepared food.
Sure.
Spectacular
Perfect place for that.
display.
Perhaps the most beautiful grocery store in the entire United
It
States.
probably, could
Yeah.
be.
There was a
That's
similar one in New York City, which many of us have visited,
Sure.
which unfortunately closed, but a similar, Balducci's had a store in a bank on the
Right.
west side for many years, which similar kind of space, basically,
Yeah.
which sadly closed. But, similar quality of food, very high-end, beautiful, lovely stuff, and all the columns there and the marble floor, and they repurposed the building very similarly to what we'll see
Upcycling.
here. Oh, yeah, in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, when in Cleveland or in anywhere in the world, when a building that has a sort of recognizable original purpose is changed into something else, there's this whole sort of new creative energy that comes out of it. It's adaptive use, and it can be just a fascinating and exciting thing to experience.
And in a way, I'm sure the planners have thought about this, and certainly those who are innocent bystanders may likely see that this re-energizes that entire area of the city.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, East 9th Street, and like you say, Brian, it used to be, I mean, I remember as a kid going downtown with my dad.
Oh, yeah.
Once in a while, like if you got good enough grades, he'd take me to the Colonnade for lunch.
There you go.
Once a year.
Right on the corner there.
And the sidewalks were packed with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, 250,000 people worked mostly around that corner, but in
Yeah.
downtown at that time.
Yeah.
Crazy story about the Colonnade. When I was a kid, slightly different time, every now and then I was
Not
fortunate
much.
enough. I said slightly.
I'm
slightly,
older.
Slightly.
Not much.
I know the age difference. I know it very well. It's not much actually. But when I was a kid, I would every now and then have an opportunity to have lunch or breakfast with Al Roker at the Colonnade.
Oh, when he was a weatherman here in Cleveland.
Yep.
And before his gastric bypass surgery.
I
So
guess
he ate a lot of breakfast back in those days.
He sure did.
Yeah.
So getting back to restoration, the restoration it's a wonderful and beautiful thing, and certainly one of the curious questions that I think a lot of Clevelanders might ask is as to how Cleveland used to have Millionaires Row, and there were a lot of great properties there, and your job, your organization, I'm guessing surely must have come along after all of those were lost, because if not, surely you would have saved every single one of those. Is it?
That's an interesting question. Go ahead, but I want to jump in before you answer to that point.
Okay, I know we still have one or two, and they're there, and God willing, we'll never lose them. But you go into certain other cities, and you see even in the density of the buildings in downtown, let's say downtown Cincinnati, for instance, you feel this amazing historic feeling. The fabric of the intercity in downtown Cincinnati is all these unique, wonderful little old buildings. In Cleveland, we've lost a lot of them, and I don't know what Cleveland's administration has said about let it go, let it stay, make it stay. In all of those different situations, there are Clevelanders who surely would have said, gosh, that's so cool. It's so beautiful. It's so wonderful. Can't we keep it? Can't we somehow do something to incorporate maybe the facade into redoing the building in an entirely different building inside, but the facade looks like something or something like that? How does it happen that, now there is this organization that's doing great things both for commercial buildings, for civic buildings, and for people's homes? What is the interplay between you and the city that we hopefully won't lose anymore?
Right.
And I want to jump in real quick because Paul said something interesting that, being lucky to be in some of the meetings where we discuss on the board of the Restoration Society some of the things that we're looking at, some of the projects that we're trying to take on, and some of the concerns that we as an organization have about structures in the region. It's interesting, Paul, that you said, if you were there, Kathleen, all these years ago, you would have saved every one of them. the sad reality, and I'd like you to talk to this for a moment, is that we can't save everyone. They're all privately owned structures, and there's no such thing as save everyone. I mean, it's the natural belief that people would have that, oh, yeah, if the organization were, oh, boy, we'd save every great building. Why can't it happen?
Well, it's an excellent question. It's complicated. There's sort of layers that I can think of to respond to it on. First of all, yes, the individual mansions on Euclid Avenue using the Millionaire's Row were owned fee simple property interests.
Sure.
And there were no landmark regulations to monitor and protect those properties. So
in that era or
at
overall?
That time, and the Cleveland Landmarks Ordinance was established in 1972.
Oh, so late in the game.
It was. I think most of those mansions were probably gone by then.
Sure.
And with Euclid Avenue in particular, it was very difficult because the commercial growth of the city went that way.
Right.
The very growth that was caused by the very people who owned those mansions.
Yep, marched right up Euclid Avenue. And so the pressure on the real estate was intense.
So if anything...
And there were no laws there to protect the properties.
And the interesting thing is some of those people, and I've read an awful lot about some of the people that owned homes there, that built homes there, some of the history, and there's some great movies, and there's a lot of good information about what went on Euclid Avenue. Sadly, the very nature of some of those people that had that kind of money was that they were quirky, unusual people. They were so quirky that they invented things that made them wealthy, or they came up with new processes for doing things with steel that made them whatever. They were.
That's just like the wealthy of today.
They weren't your average guy or gal, so some of their unaverageness made them wealthy, but also some of their unaverageness made them say, when I'm done with this house, I want it torn down. I don't want anybody else using it, so it's my house, my money, tear the thing down. And some of those were demolished at their order.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. Do you, as an organization,
beautiful as they were,
and you both sit on the board of this now, so I can.
Well, she's the president. I'm just one of the lackeys hanging around.
Get out of here.
Do you on a regular basis sort of take stock of the whole city and say, okay, these are the different properties that are out there, and we've got our eyes on all these.
Yeah, we definitely have our eyes on things. And what we do as routinely is to identify properties and ask the city to consider designating them as local landmarks, because it's that local designation, the local Cleveland ordinance, which is an excellent ordinance, by the way, that protects buildings. So, you know that we have in Cleveland certain areas that are designated historic districts, the Cleveland Warehouse District, the Gateway District.
By the way,
Ohio
are we
City.
talking Greater Cleveland or Cleveland proper?
We work across northeastern Ohio,
Okay, good,
really,
good. Okay.
And have been for a number of years. But we've stuck with our historic name, Cleveland Restoration Society.
Sure.
We think it's authentic. So we're very modern and forward-looking, but we've stuck with that name.
But you indeed have a broad reach across the region.
Absolutely, right.
That's great.
Folks, let's take a quick break here. We're talking with Kathleen Crowther, the president of the Cleveland Restoration Society. Really, we'd love for you to pick up the phone and give Kathleen a call. Give us a call here at the Stark Group Live. 578-1490 is our number. Not only could you get a Brugger's Big Bagel Bundle, 13 bagels, baked the old-fashioned way with 2 8-ounce tubs of Vermont cream cheese, but you also may get an annual membership for the Restoration Society, which is really, sure, it costs a few bucks, but the benefit that you get of participating in the events and the knowledge that we share is really inestimable, in my view. We really want to see people support restoration and saving important structures. We'll talk about it a little later. Important doesn't necessarily mean that it's one of those old, crusty, fabulous things. It's important. Structures are important for many reasons, and not all of them are all that old, as a matter of fact. So we'll be back in just a few moments. I'm Brian Stark.
And I'm Paul Stark.
And you're listening to the Stark Group Live, talking real estate on the People's Station, News Talk 1490 AM, WERE.
CEOGC Head Start is enrolling now for the 2014-2015 school year at locations across Cuyahoga County. To enroll, please call 216-589-9922 or log on to newstalkcleveland.com.
Attention, real estate investors.
Do you need cash to close your deals? Do you know how to find great deals, but you don't have enough money to buy them all?
You need your very own private lender, someone who understands your needs and always has enough cash to make your deals happen fast.
TrueStar Funding is your private lender in Ohio. We have millions of dollars available for professional real estate investors to quickly purchase the best deals, rehab them, and either sell them for terrific profits or turn them into cash flow rental machines.
We'll share our years of experience and help you become even more successful.
At TrueStar Funding, your private real estate investor, we fund houses, apartments, commercial property, and land nationwide. Call me, Brian Stark, today at 216-310-1470. My number again is 216-310-1470. TrueStar Funding, your private real estate lender.
This is a special announcement for all taxpayers who owe the IRS money and are unable to pay. Pay attention. Finally, we've got good news. The IRS has a new Fresh Start program for those who qualify. We can stop liens, bank levies, and wage garnishments right now. Even if you're on a payment plan, we can still help. Call Success Tax Relief at 1-800-597-4977. If you owe back taxes, the new IRS Fresh Start program is for you. Hurry, this won't last long, so call now. Success Tax Relief, 1-800-597-4977. Our team of tax professionals has over 30-plus years of experience with settling tax debts. Call 1-800-597-4977. We will assist in helping you get qualified for the new IRS Fresh Start program. This won't last long. Grab a pen or put the number in your cell phone, but call now. Success Tax Relief, 1-800-597-4977.
Join us for the 7th Annual Radio 1 Family Day at the Zoo, Monday, July 28th, brought to you by Cricket Wireless, the official cellular sponsor of Radio 1's Family Zoo Day.
Properties Magazine is a monthly publication dedicated to real estate and building progress in Northern Ohio. If you're looking for a marketing partner to reach the decision makers and volume buyers in your area, you can be certain Properties is your best venue. Properties has now serviced the industry for over 6 decades. It's Ohio's most respected, trusted, and important communications link between the real estate, developmental, architectural, and construction communities. Your advertisement in Properties instantly adds over 20,000 targeted buyers to your marketing efforts. We reach the key people who buy your products and services every month since 1946. Properties is the vehicle that carries the features and benefits of your products and services. We are proud of our role in delivering sales for our advertisers on a monthly basis for over 6 decades. At Properties, we are devoted to real estate and building progress and watching your continued success. For more information, call us today at 216-251-0035 or check us out on the web at www.propertiesmag, that's all one word, propertiesmag.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Join me live to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. Healthline, the world's leader in cell-resonant nutrition technology, delivers what others only promise. Nutrition that really works. Experience nutrition that really works for yourself.
Tune in to Healthline Saturdays noon till 1 p.m. on AM 1490 WERE, the People's Station.
Attention home buyers, the home of your dreams is waiting. Interest rates are at all-time lows. There's still time to benefit from the slow economy and get a great value. Now is the time to buy. Visit freeclevelandhomesearch.com. freeclevelandhomesearch.com. That's freeclevelandhomesearch.com for spectacular home values.
News Talk Cleveland, WERE, Cleveland Heights, WENZ HD2, and WZAK HD3 Cleveland. And streaming live at blackplanetradio.com.
You're listening to the Stark Group Live, talking real estate on Cleveland's WERE. And now, back to the hosts of the Stark Group Live, Brian and Paul Stark.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Stark Group Live, talking real estate. I'm Paul Stark, joined as always by my thrifty co-host, Brian Stark. His voice is a little rocky today, so let's take it easy on him. If you want to call into the show, by the way, anytime throughout the entire show, pick up the phone and dial 216-578-1490. You too can be a part of the show. All you have to do is pick up the phone and dial. Meanwhile, let's talk some more with Kathleen Crowther.
Folks, Kathleen Crowther is the president of the Cleveland Restoration Society, a member of the International Council on Monuments and Sites. That's very interesting. And a guest lecturer at Cleveland State University teaching the class Contemporary Issues in Historic Preservation.
So before we left to go to that break, I had asked you about taking stock of the whole city and sort of, seeing what little lights glimmer on the map there, and we're going to keep our eyes on those. So tell me more about that.
Well, yeah, the city is always needs to be surveyed and looked at because every year time marches on and more becomes considered valuable and even by age eligible for designation.
Mm-hmm.
So the city of Cleveland, there are so many, since the city was built up largely between 1880 and 1940,
40,
the age limit or minimum age for the National Register is 50 years. So think about that. We have thousands of buildings
that are rolling over into the 50-year age every day.
That make the age criteria for the National Register.
Mm-hmm.
Now in Cleveland, the Landmarks Department has done a pretty good job of surveying the city. So we already have a number of National Register districts, local Cleveland landmark districts like Ohio City, Tremont, and then we have lots of individual landmarks, really monumental buildings like historic religious buildings, schools.
Roughly how many in Northeast Ohio? And I'm sure you don't know exactly, but are there hundreds and hundreds of buildings worth a car trip? Like if I had a weekend free, or if I was visiting Northeast Ohio, could I take all weekend and not see all the buildings that are on the National Register?
Oh, absolutely. We have, in Cleveland, we have 17 registered historic districts.
Wow.
Each of which include many buildings or several buildings.
Yeah, we're a big city, and the designated landmarks are vast, and there are sections of the city that qualify that are not designated.
So what you're basically describing, and I'm sort of visually aware of this because I walk through the city, I walk through any city, and I see building after building that's beautiful. I don't know which one has the National Register plaque on it, which one is designated
for the bronze plaque.
But what you're really talking about is a walking museum. This city is.
We're so used to it because we live here.
Oh, so look, there's a nice column. Oh, look at that pretty window.
Yeah, we become accustomed to it. So it takes visitors from the outside that come to we pick them up at the airport or someplace, and they say, wow, you've got really nice houses here in Shaker Heights. Oh, my goodness. The banking halls and City Hall here, it looks like it's, you in Washington, D.C.
It's very impressive. And by the way, it's interesting you should mention
Until
that.
Until you listen to the councilman start speaking. No, just kidding. Did I say that?
There are great cities all around the United States, and I'm wondering, did something, and I know part of the answer already, but I want to hear it from you. Did something different happen here in Cleveland that didn't necessarily happen in other cities of similar size, where it is that we have great public buildings of immense scale, the library and the federal bank and the courthouse and so on, they're of this incredible scale that you don't see in certain other places. But on top of that, as you said, Shaker Heights and a number of other suburban areas, Cleveland Heights right next door to
Lakewood.
Shaker Heights, where you have these homes that are amazing. What made Cleveland so much different that other people come from other notable cities and say, wow, Cleveland looks like
don't they have a beautiful city hall in San Francisco
exactly.
or in
well,
Pittsburgh?
First of all, you're talking about the group plan. In downtown, we have what is known as the group plan
who came up with that?
Civic buildings. It was conceived by Daniel Burnham, who was considered the father of city planning, and it was built up during the progressive era of American history, where there were great ideals.
Not the Progressive Insurance Company, by the way.
Not the Progressive Soup either.
That's Progresso.
Oh, thank you.
Exactly.
So,
I could use a cup of it now.
It was
Apparently.
a time of great aspiration and ambition for this great country of ours. It was finding its own feet with sea legs, let's say, with regard to architecture and design, but wanting to project the democracy ideals from Greece and Rome.
Did certain other cities of similar time not have their Daniel Burnhams?
Oh, we're very unique that we did have our Daniel Burnham. So there are, I'm going
not to mention Walker and Weeks and many others.
Well, he a practicing architect under the rubric of the group plan that was set out as the design for this area for the civic buildings in Cleveland.
So we were very fortunate to
very
have
fortunate.
Benjamin Hubble, we had so many.
And we had the steadfast commitment to it on the part of our city fathers, and we were a wealthy city.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other thing is we had great wealth here from the industrial age, and the leaders of our community wanted to project the significance and importance of our city's image across the country.
So we were really the great benefactors of those early settlers, per se, in Cleveland, because other cities, no matter how big they are today, didn't necessarily begin that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, they didn't. I mean, Cleveland was the 6th largest city in the early 1900s.
Right. And the fastest growing city in America at the turn of the century.
Yeah,
at 1900.
So there's expectations that the city would continue to grow and absorb all of these monumental structures that were being built.
So here we are today looking back over our shoulder at these past 100 years, and we have scattered all throughout the city these beautiful buildings and also beautiful homes. And now we have a whole great number of homeowners who are sitting with these, some of whom really want to do something great with them. And I know you have a new program, or it may not necessarily be new, but a great program that takes advantage of what's going on with interest rates today and so on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Our Heritage Home Program, it's actually been around for a little over 20 years. We have a new dimension, though, and it's called the Heritage Home Purchase Program, Purchase and Rehab. We started thinking many years ago that we want to help people fix up these older houses, that they've got a lot of character and charm. They're really interesting. So we have a low-interest loan program where we help people stay in these older houses, too. Why, why is it that we should leave a house to go to the next place when you can, make your house comfortable and stay in the old neighborhood?
And it is difficult because people eventually come to find that, wow, we've been here so many years and, it doesn't have central air conditioning, or the bedrooms aren't as big as we'd like, or the floors are cold at night, or the wood floors creak, or this or that, or gee, wouldn't it be nice to be in a one-story thing, or gosh, wouldn't it be great to be just in something with no maintenance?
Well, does restoration, by the way, it's funny, you mentioned the one thing about air conditioning, and I know room sizes for restoration, I'm pretty sure room sizes are important because they reflect on what the style of living of the day was when that home was built. But in terms of modern amenities, cable and internet and air conditioning and so on, thermally insulated windows, does true restoration these days allow for that kind of modernization?
Yes, I think, we want people to live in homes where they're comfortable and amenable to today's standards of living. So we are not encouraging people to live in a house museum. We routinely help people remove walls on the interior of a house. Now, if we had a house that had a very significant interior with very significant architectural detail, and we felt that it would just be inappropriate to remove or reconfigure that interior, we would say something about that.
Right.
But the vast majority of our houses can be retrofitted with a little bit of a wall removal, particularly for kitchens. A lot of people want those big kind of,
sure,
live-in, kind of eat-in kitchens, and it creates an interesting house too. What we work on in particular with the homeowner is the exterior of the house.
Got it.
Now, with the exterior of the house, we really want to bring out the beauty of the old house.
Okay.
So we're not using new materials when the original materials are useful.
So new materials like vinyl siding, for example.
Right. We don't install vinyl siding in our properties, nor in our projects with our homeowners at all, nor vinyl windows. What we do is try and save the original windows.
And when you say we, by the way, and I know I'm interrupting, these programs are programs to help homeowners. So when you say we, the we is the CRS as a consultative agency,
yes,
assisting and advising, correct?
Yes. We are a nonprofit organization, and the Heritage Home Program is one of our programs for the community. It is offered to communities that participate. We're in something like 40 communities. It's those communities are listed on our website. And we're not selling any products. We're not selling new roof or windows or anything. We're strictly impartial old house technicians trying to help people remain in their house and preserve it so that the character remains there.
So you help direct traffic in a way between resources and between knowledge base.
Yes.
And we don't want people to be scared. Back years ago, when people looked, for example, shopkeepers would look at the quote unquote storefront renovation programs that used to exist in some of the cities. The barriers to getting those programs done were so high that a lot of store owners wouldn't even bother with it. Oh, they want me to use this kind of wood, and I got to use so many union laborers, and I got to forget about it. I'll hire a couple of guys and put on a new store. This is different. You're not, coming in and commandeering somebody's home and telling them you have to use old brick that you can only get from a place down south for $48 a brick.
Right. We're very practical. We want people to stay in the houses. So we help them make good choices that have continued to build the value in the houses.
You did make an interesting comment that caught my attention, and I wanted to go back to for a moment. You were talking about windows, and you had said that we try to use the wood, the original wood from the windows, and you're restoring certain things. Is there in authentic restoration, let's say some homeowner comes to you and says, look, the wood is pretty rotted, and rather than restore the wood windows, the sash and so on, I'd like to have sash made with the same species of wood in the same style as the original windows were made, but it'll be all new wood. Is that okay? Or do you actually want to go with the original materials?
No. If the original material is failing in some way, we absolutely allow for replacement windows, perfect reproductions like you're describing, or reasonable facsimiles.
And there certainly are many, many, many vendors out there these days who specialize in that kind of manufacturing, right?
Yes, and there are also lots of window salesmen out there that want to just sell windows.
Just a window to fill the hole.
What we do with houses when there's a big project is we do a window-by-window inventory to try and help the homeowner figure out which windows really have to be replaced.
Is there a cost for the homeowner for all of this service?
If you're getting one of our low-interest loans, no, there's not a cost. Now, if we have, we provide free technical assistance. And doing a elaborate survey might cost a little bit, but we'll routinely look at the problematic windows in a house.
For the house itself, for the house project, can someone call up your organization and say, hi, I'm Bob, and I live in Cleveland Heights, and I've got this house on, name a street, Brian, and could you come out and see, because I'm not sure how do you have some
Elbon? That's exactly what we do, and we do
perfect.
A ton of that in Cleveland Heights. It's one of our partner cities.
Good.
Yes, and so we come out, and we oftentimes allay people's fears. They think, some problem is going to be a disaster, when actually it might be a routine small fix.
Very cool.
So it's very helpful. We've got 2 construction analysts on staff. We have 4 historic preservation professionals that are dedicated to this program. So it's really a wonderful program.
And the programs are for homeowners, whether people are going to live in the home or investors, correct?
Yep, it's 1, 2, 3 family homes. So they can be rental properties or owner occupants. It doesn't matter.
I don't know if I've ever seen a historically redone home that's a rental.
Well, there probably are many.
All over the place.
Are they really?
Absolutely, all over
a
Cleveland.
Restored
Cleveland
home,
Heights.
but that's being held as a rental. That's fascinating. I really didn't know.
Then I think you have to think of that. So many houses in our community qualify as older and historic. I mean, all of Lakewood, all of Cleveland Heights.
I guess I know about like apartment buildings or commercial. Like what's the great old play, the Alcazar
I love that place.
That's one that, yes, it's rental and
You
so on.
should.
But that's it's a big scale kind of project. But I don't think I've ever noticed, and it must be that I've seen them, but I didn't realize. I've never noticed a two-family, for instance, Lakewood, Cleveland Heights, whatever, that went through a restoration process, which is costly, just to be used as a rental, especially because as a rental landlord, very often you think, tenants do this to properties, and so am I going to put all that money into restoring the property?
Yeah, but what kind of tenants would you attract then?
We've got a lot of Cleveland
good
doubles out there that are very viable places.
Mm-hmm.
People living in one part of the double and renting the other part. And, the exterior appearance of the house is very important.
Sure. Oh, of course.
We have gorgeous houses on one area I can think of is Winslow Road in Shaker Heights.
Sure.
Those are all doubles.
Great street.
Or a
yeah.
lot of doubles and maybe some triples in there. I don't know. And people invest heavily in those buildings.
Interesting.
And when they sell, they're, they can get a buck in the market.
We are about to take a little bit of a break, one more of our breaks, the last one of the evening. So before we go, why don't you give our listeners your phone number so that they can call call you, and ask some questions?
One of those
Sure.
tech people there at the Cleveland
Sure.
Restoration
All
Society.
right. Well, our main number is area code 216-426-1000. And we have a number of people on the staff, I would say, speak with Colin Compton, Mary Ogle, or Margaret Land.
Perfect.
Very
That's
good.
Perfect.
All right, I'm Brian Stark.
I'm Paul Stark.
And you're listening to the Stark Group Live Talking Real Estate. Pick up the phone and call us at 578-1490. Ask Kathleen Crowther, the president of the Cleveland Restoration Society, any of your restoration or preservation questions. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. This is News Talk 1490 AM WERE.
Red Eye Radio, Sunday mornings from 1 until 6 a.m.
Hi, this is Eric.
And I'm Gary.
We're from Red Eye Radio.
And we're the guys that stay up late with you or get you up early. And we talk about the news, entertainment, sports, or whatever's on your mind, the important issues and the not so important issues. We'll help you get your new day started off right.
It's Red Eye Radio, the early morning show.
Red Eye Radio, 1 to 6 a.m. Sunday mornings, right here on News Talk 1490 WERE and streaming live on BlackPlanetRadio.com.
Attention, real estate investors.
Do you need cash to close your deals? Do you know how to find great deals, but you don't have enough money to buy them all?
You need your very own private lender, someone who understands your needs and always has enough cash to make your deals happen fast.
TrueStar Funding is your private lender in Ohio. We have millions of dollars available for professional real estate investors to quickly purchase the best deals, rehab them, and either sell them for terrific profits or turn them into cash flow rental machines.
We'll share our years of experience and help you become even more successful.
At TrueStar Funding, your private real estate investor, we fund houses, apartments, commercial property, and land nationwide. Call me, Brian Stark, today at 216-310-1470. My number again is 216-310-1470. TrueStar Funding, your private real estate lender.
News Talk 1490 welcomes Answer the Bell every Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Tune in to get your weekly commentary featuring Eugene Miller, father, entrepreneur, and public servant. He will energize the debate with razor-sharp views on life, politics, and public affairs to help you respond to a challenge. Answer the Bell every Friday at 6 p.m. with Eugene Miller on News Talk 1490 WERE and streaming live at BlackPlanetRadio.com.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try to handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. This tax hotline will help tell you about new programs to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 1-800-210-0311. That's 1-800-210-0311. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. Stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-800-210-0311. That's 1-800-210-0311.
Tired of playing the alarm clock blues every morning? Sick of dealing with your jerk boss? Want to finally be able to call your own shots in life and never again worry about paying the bills? Well, real estate investing is the most proven, reliable way for regular people like you to create true financial independence. Expert investor Josh Cantwell has personally done over 600 deals and generated millions of dollars for his students. Now he wants to give you his secret strategy for banking big checks without using any of your own money, free. Go to REIReport.com right now to discover the secret to crushing it in any market.
You're listening to the Stark Group Live, talking real estate on Cleveland's WERE. And now, back to the hosts of the Stark Group Live, Brian and Paul Stark.
Welcome back, folks, to the Stark Group Live, talking real estate. I'm Paul Stark, and this is the final segment, the home stretch of our show for this evening. And if you haven't called in yet, which I know you haven't, pick up the phone and dial 216-578-1490. It's easy to do. It's only 7 numbers. There's no reason you shouldn't. And if you do, you could win a Bruegger's Big Bagel Bundle.
Nice job, Paul.
Bruegger's Big Bagel Bundle. I guess
you can handle it.
Complete with two containers of Vermont cream cheese. I was going to say
Good.
two quarts of Vermont cream cheese. That's a lot of cream cheese, isn't it? But you could win that if you would just pick up the phone and dial. Meanwhile, we're talking with Kathleen Crowther, the president of the Cleveland Restoration Society. And there's so many questions that we need to cover before we leave today about the Heritage Home Purchase Program and the Heritage Home Rehab Program. They sort of work hand in hand, but one of the important things about the whole program is this Home Purchase Program. It's a little bit newer, and it works very well with low interest rates that we have right now. So, Kathleen Crowther, take it away.
Yeah, we have a really wonderful new product, so to speak, even though we're a nonprofit. It's the Heritage Home Purchase Program. We've worked it out with First Federal Lakewood, and its great quality is that it allows for a homeowner to buy a house and get the rehabilitation loan in one step.
Awesome.
So everything happens at the same time. All of the same documents, same expenses that you would normally have for 2 different loans are done in one step.
Wrapped into one package.
It's wrapped into one package, although there are 2 separate rates. Our incredible rate for the purchase program is 1.85%.
It's crazy low.
Which is unbelievable, and it's thanks to our whiz-bang financial people.
Whiz-bang.
They're
a team, actually,
shop,
whiz and bang.
at our shop, at the county, at First Federal of Lakewood. We've done a lot of work behind the scenes to deliver these low rates. And it's a very cool thing. And what we do is we work with all types of people, too. We work with people that are, struggling maybe a little bit to afford things. And then we have no income restrictions, so we work with middle income and high income people as well.
That's pretty amazing.
So what's very interesting about this program also is that it's particularly good for undervalued properties. If there's an empty vacant property, let's say on a street in Cleveland, somebody could buy that property for a relatively small amount of money, let's say.
So you're saying, and I'm loving what I'm hearing here. An ordinary person could come along and see a house that, let's say, was foreclosed or something. It's an historic looking property, and normally they would think to themselves, "Oh my God, that would really be a great house if." But they say to themselves, I couldn't possibly restore it and do what it needs to be done, but it would be great if I could. I'll go to the next house. But instead, you have a program for an ordinary person that makes it possible for them to do that.
And that's exactly why we created the program. Because
that's amazing.
There are a lot of houses out there, and we do still have undervalued properties. So we have a homeowner who we've got a few of these loans that have already closed. But if you can buy a house in Cleveland, let's say that you can buy for $20,000,
right?
I don't know, and you can get a loan for $80,000 to fix it up, as long as it appraises out. I mean, it has to have economic sense. But we do have many instances of undervalued properties. So the purchase price,
Don't leave us. Don't go.
Might be lower in many instances
Right.
than the rehab cost.
And that's a very special program too, because most of the time, and we talk about this on the radio all the time, most of the time banks these days typically don't want to get involved in a property that's in such derelict condition that they'd have to put up more money to rehab it than the purchase. They don't want to be involved in that sort of thing. This is exactly the kind of thing that homeowners would want. Now, what about, I guess that one of the questions might be, you come by this home and you go, oh, wow, that would be really great. Look at how beautiful it used to be. Do they have to know whether that one qualifies for historic designation, or do they come to you, or is there a sign on the front that says this home qualifies?
The house has to be in one of our participating communities. And we have, 40 of them or so. So checking our website might be the first step.
Which is?
www.heritagehomeprogram.org.
Perfect.
So we have a separate website for the program, although you can also access it through our basic organizational website,
Perfect.
clevelandrestoration.org.
And at clevelandrestoration.org, there are other resources besides just information about your address and all that kind of thing. There's a lot of good information there, correct?
Oh, yeah. We have all sorts of historic preservation materials there. We have a pretty, layered website so that people can learn about the field and learn about adaptive use of historic buildings. There's a lot on there.
And for our listeners who are local, tell us a little bit about the college bar that you guys work in all day long.
What? Huh? What?
Our headquarters is at the Sarah Benedict House, and some time ago it used to be called the Library, and it was a bar. It was a Cleveland State hangout.
Wow.
So during
did they leave the taps live?
There was a big vault in the basement when we got it, and it's an 1883 brick Queen Anne, very large property.
It's a fabulous house.
It's a fabulous house.
How many square feet is that house, by the way?
Oh, I'm so bad at square feet.
Certainly 3,000, 2,800.
I was going to say 10,000.
So it's a big house.
It's a large English basement, completely.
With the third floor and all. It might be 8 or 10. It's very big. Yeah.
We have a beautiful garden that we've done as well.
Which you can rent for parties, events. And it's a lovely place.
When we got the Sarah Benedict house, it needed everything.
Yeah.
But, it was a battleship. It was completely structurally sound.
That's amazing.
It was a college bar. Plus, it was a rooming house on the second floor.
So you're saying even though this place had been beat on, I was just going to say, even though it had been beat up, it was still pretty solid.
Absolutely. Why? Because these buildings were built.
They built them the right way.
With walls that are thick of masonry, construction, bricks.
Even interior walls are.
Absolutely. Hard growth wood. The buildings we have in Cleveland are sturdy buildings.
And we definitely invite listeners to make an appointment and come take a tour of the Sarah Benedict house. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Great place to host a meeting.
Yeah, it's
great
beautiful.
Place for a nice little gathering of some sort, a little festive thing, especially in the summer. You can have a nice little meeting inside and greet guests outdoors in the garden there.
Does it have cool passageways or secret compartments or anything like
that? No stairways that turn upside down or...
Well, it has a grand staircase coming down, into the grand vestibule.
Very nice.
It's a wonderful
grand
place.
Vestibule.
Yeah, it's very,
you have to say
nice.
it with an affectation.
Foyer.
Exactly. Foyer. Welcome.
Well, one more time, and I can't stress it enough, in order that people get in touch with your organization, give them a phone number and a website.
Okay. Phone number 216-426-1000. Website, I'm going to give you the basic organizational website.
Okay.
www.clevelandrestoration.org.
Perfect.
For people who have a house that they like, everybody lives somewhere. For people who have a home that they like, where they see an architectural detail that they enjoy, where they see a window or a doorway or a floor or something that they like, how would you suggest that people treat those things? Share with us just some insights for daily living to keep those things alive in our world.
Approach repairing things gently. Aggressive measures.
No sawzalls involved.
Aggressive measures oftentimes damage materials. So I think love the material too. Love those handmade bricks that they build houses out of. love that wood that was cut from, an old growth oak tree.
Mm-hmm.
We have extraordinary materials that our houses are built out of. So I'd say
definitely
feel the history, feel the vibe from it.
And in a protectionist sort of approach, if you have a small leak, attend to it before it becomes a bigger leak, because water destroys things. If you have if you have electrical repairs, attend to them before they burn your house down.
Get the best people and use them over and over again too.
Yeah.
That's a great insight. Tell us about the party at the 9.
The 9, October 11th, 10-11 at the 9, we're going to have a benefit. It's going to be spectacular.
Who all is invited?
Everybody
who can pay $175.
will pay $175 a ticket and up.
Or whatever it
is
is.
a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And
our annual benefit.
It is going to be amazing. The 9 is the old Ameritrust Tower, and then the Rotunda. We're going to be able to look at the Rotunda. It is a remarkable project that the Geis brothers are doing, the largest mixed-use project really in the city of Cleveland.
Amazing.
They are absolutely local heroes, homegrown boys, so to speak, that have just come upon the scene with so much creativity. The decor is going to be, the design on the interior is going to be mind-blowing.
Guess what? They did the building we're sitting in now.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
They did this studio right here.
Yeah. But it's going to be, it's going to honor the history of the building, but it's going to really, infuse it with new life and evocative design.
Beautiful. Well, folks, if you want to join us at the annual benefit for the Cleveland Restoration Society, all you've got to do is
www.clevelandrestoration.org
or
give us a call.
Folks, next week we'll be hosting Macy Miller. Her company is called Mini Motives, and guess what? She and her boyfriend and their daughter live in a house that's about 110 square feet.
Wow, that's tiny.
She's an advocate for tiny homes, and she's going to tell you why she loves it.
Tiny Macy. Folks, this is the music of Joe Hunter and Dallas Coffee telling us, unfortunately, it's time once again to say goodbye. We got to go.
By 310 or send email to brian@starkworld.com. We're also sponsored by Strategic Real Estate Coach and Sharp Concepts Realty, not to mention Properties Magazine, the magazine of the commercial property industry.
That's right. For additional information on any subjects discussed on our show, call Brian Stark at 216-310-1470 or email brian@starkworld.com.
Folks, thank you all for being with us. Thank you, Kathleen, for joining us. Join us every Thursday night at 7, folks. And remember, William Shakespeare said, I would give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground.
Furlongs. Good night, folks.